G'day, Chris.
Hey mate, the time's finally come.
It has, yes.
Your baby needs to find a new home.
Yeah, unfortunately it does, yeah.
Yes. So mate, the love affair started back when you were looking for a track car, essentially, and you decided to go full 993 GT2 spec.
Yep.
Which is a pretty impressive way to decide you want to go a track car, isn't it?
Yeah, well I had a 996 GT3 and it was a great car, but it wasn't a full-on track car, you know. I wanted something a little more lively and yeah, found this car for sale in Adelaide and yeah, had a ton of fun in it, but yeah, it just got to the point where after about the second time we had to do an engine rebuild in it. You know, those early 911 engines, you can get 600 horsepower out of them, but they don't last that long. So yeah, on the second engine rebuild, and it was about the same time that the whole resto mod thing was really hitting its stride 4.5 years ago. So I decided, because it's a 69E shell, I thought, well, this is the opportunity to build something a little bit special, have it as a totally 100% legal road car, but really track orientated and something that I can drive around the streets and not get bothered by the rozzers too much, but that's something that you can take to the track and really be competitive. Yeah.
So the vehicle, when it got spec'd from a 69E up to the full GT2 car that was running at the front of the Porsche Cup back then, before the Carrera Cup, that was all Terry Ashwood, wasn't it? The Sydney Burger Baron.
That's him, yeah.
Silver Fox.
Yeah, great guy, Terry.
Yeah, so have you spoken to Terry about the car?
I did. Actually, you put me on to Terry, and I met up with him down at the Gold Coast, and he actually brought me a heap of photos from when he ran it in the Porsche Cup. And I grabbed me a really big poster of the car as well. And he was really interested to hear about it.
It was in McDonald's livery, right?
It was in his era.
Yes,
But obviously it had been through a few hands after he finished with it. And it was just plain yellow when I was running it.
Yeah, McDonald's yellow.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing that the vehicle went from 69 up to, you know, front running 993 GT2, and now she's sort of gone back to 73, but obviously never in its life, it wouldn't have left Stuttgart in this amazing condition. I'm sure the factory specs back then were pretty good. What was it? When was the catalyst when you went from, okay, well, I've got this 993 GT2 and it's amazing, but then all of a sudden you've gone, well, I'm going to create this amazing, you know, this car's just brain snapping. What was it that really pushed you this far? Yeah,
look, I wanted, as I said, I wanted something that I could drive to the track. I got sick of putting it on the trailer and running slicks and running, you know, it's like when you're running a race car. So I wanted something that was good fun on the track. I didn't want to go heaps of aero, you know. I like going sideways. And this car has that in spades. So when we stripped it back to bare metal, it was actually in really good nick. You know, it had been a competition car most of its life, so it had never been out in the weather. So apart from having a lot of holes put in it from when it was a race car, and the floors being a bit banged up from where they used to jack it up, or you know, where it had a few off-road excursions, but the doors were perfect. There was no rust in it, so it was a really good clean shell to start with. And we always loved the 73 RSR. I think that's the purest version of the Longwood. You know, a great opportunity to start. There were some good bits in the car from when it was a race car. The M800 Motec, the fuel injection stuff, really good shock absorbers. It's got Murray Coots shocks all around. The 935 front end, and all of the rear end is fully adjustable from when it was a race car. So if you've got the desire to play with that sort of stuff, you can spend hours mucking around with shock absorber positions, wheel position. Everything's fully adjustable in it.
Yeah, you wouldn't, from my driving experience in the car though. It's just, you've got it so perfect. It's just amazing for it to be so rigid, corners so well, and yet, you know, hitting on those B roads that we went across, the fact that it's just no bump steer, the front end wasn't dancing around, the whole lot, it's probably the most perfect, hard, track-focused 911 I've ever driven, and that's including the new GT3 RSs and all that kind of stuff. This car's just got it in spades, mate. It's got that X factor that people want. Porsche can't build this car, like safety requirements say they'd never get a sub 1 tonne car and put all but 400 horsepower in the bum. Like it'll never happen, you know, but Porsche would love to build this car. So mate, I've got to dob you in here though. I'm just so curious. When did you're still here talking to me about a track car, and you talk to me about, oh, I want to go to track days. When did you decide to build something that this thing could go to Pebble Beach? I mean, like, it's just absolutely next level. I mean, you've gone so far past a track car that when I first saw it, I love racing, and I thought there's no way in God's earth I would put this on a racetrack. It's exquisite.
It's one of those classic scope creep projects where you set the standard at the start, and then you think, well, if I do something of a lesser quality, it's going to look out of place. So,
yeah.
And you think that with a minimalist car like this, that you can, you know, that it's not that expensive to do, but to get the interior, the metalwork on the interior was probably more work than the exterior because of all the gunge and all of the sound deadening and everything that's in an old Porsche, and it's the inside of it's as good as the outside. So that was the starting point. And then because it's a minimalist interior, we went to the very best upholsterers here on the Sunshine Coast. Peter Blakemore did a fantastic job.
He's a gun.
Doing that. The gear shift and the rally handbrake, that sort of thing. I got my father-in-law, who's a machinist, to machine up the lightweight knobs, and the gear shift is something that is a hangover from the race car. I really like that. It's a direct shaft down to the gearbox, so it's like a bolt on an expensive Italian rifle when you're shifting gears, and it's so good. The steering, it's, you know, because the car's so light, and as you say, it just feels like nothing else. You can feel every little discrepancy in the road, and you can feel the steering loading up. You've really got that seat of your pants driving experience that even, you know, cars like the GT3s don't have that level of...
No, they don't. But the car doesn't fight you. No. That's the thing about it. You're feeling every part of the road, but at no stage does the car fight you. Whereas with the GT3, the car most certainly doesn't fight you, but you're definitely not feeling all the road either. I'm like, you are relative to other modern cars, but this car just takes that and puts it to a level that, you know, few people ever experience.
And it's a totally analogue car. There's no traction control, there's no ABS, there's no power steering.
Yeah.
It's all up to you, and that's the other thing that I really like about this car. To drive it really fast, you've got to be a half decent peddler. So that's the other satisfaction that I get from it.
Yeah.
Is you know, it was built to go out and embarrass people in GT4s and GT3s, and it's certainly it can do that.
Yeah, but I think with the naturally aspirated engine, which given that it's a 965 turbo case and crank, which is complete unobtainium, but you did go down the naturally aspirated path, it's not as though it is a 600 horsepower turbo, which would, in this package, it would throw you in the bush. It still is a progressive power curve. I mean, like when you hit the loud pedal, like she goes off, but nothing like the turbo. I think it is a wild car, but you would have to put yourself into danger. Whereas for me, I just thought it communicated so well what it was doing. The tail, if it was going to step out, you had to make it. You know, it wasn't like even just a stock 930 on a wet road coming around a roundabout. Like, you've got to be knowing what the hell you're doing. This car, I think it communicates a lot more to you, exactly what it's doing. Like, if it wasn't so beautiful, I would love to do a Tarp in Tasmania in it, but it would just break my heart. Like, every day you'd be looking at every stone chip going, oh my God, what am I doing? But that's
you've got to drive them, Chris.
Yes.
So it's got paint protection film in the the hard wearing areas, but you know, just getting back to the engine, it's got a light single mass flywheel, which it's a little bit rattly, and because there's no sound deadening in the car, you hear every mechanical noise in it. But to me, that's worth it to get that instant throttle response that this car's got. It's like nothing I've ever driven. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weapon.
So mate, the wheels on it, I mean like the fact that you've got the huge 993 turbo brakes
Yep.
under there, but they're a 15-inch wheel package, which is part of what sets this car out with the larger Michelin TBs on there and what have you. Like from the aesthetic perspective, it's amazing. How did you do that? I mean, like, that's what everyone wants to do, but how did you do it?
Yeah, this is where you start getting on the slippery slope. We wanted as big a brake as we could get,
Oh yeah.
but the standard hooks or the braid wheels don't have the clearance for those big rotors and calipers. So these are actually custom billet wheels built in the UK by a company called Image that do specialist race wheels. Yeah, I can't tell you how much they cost because my wife might see this video one day. But
They're awesome.
they're a really close replica to the original wheels, but they're super strong. And
Yeah.
as I said, the tolerances around the brake calipers are very tight, but they fit and the offsets are right. There's no need for spaces, all of that stuff that we didn't want to do.
No, the stance and the look and all that. I really hope the boys taking the shots capture just again the aesthetics of this car, just brain snapping, and everywhere you look, whether it's the wheels, whether it's the seat, the shift, the handbrake, the roll cage, just everything throughout the vehicle. It's just you just look more and more and you see more and more. I know from my own personal experiences, everyone thinks they can build this car. Everyone truly believes that you know, oh, with the time and of course with the money and with everything, oh, I could do that. But no one truly understands how much time that is, how much money that is, and also how much focus is needed to keep that standard that you were talking about. You started at a high point, you kept it at a high point. Mate, 99% of us, I reckon, we start here and we sort of end up somewhere down here. Everyone wants to build, you know, the singer, to use the term. And I'm not saying this is a different animal to a bloody singer, that's for sure. But no one does. This is the most fascinating and well executed RSR type vehicle I've ever seen in this country. And the only thing I've ever seen come close to it is a Singer over in Los Angeles, where I looked at it and I thought, wow, that's impressive. And the more I looked, the more I thought, my God, this car's next level. This one's got that same effect. It's just an absolute credit to you. So I'm just so stoked you've given me a chance to find a new home for it, which means I also get to drive it. So Paul, the wife, the kids, the family and all that, they're prepared to let you step away from a 11-year long love affair. They're okay with it?
Yeah, my wife's okay with it. The boys are a little bit devastated, but yeah, they're into different stuff. They're not as passionate about it as I am, and we want to do more stuff together. I've realised I've only got so many heartbeats left, and yeah, so unfortunately it's time to part with it.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. It wouldn't be very P-Plater friendly, really, would it? No, that's fine. Well, mate, what that presents then is an amazing opportunity for someone to come and get into a vehicle like this that money, time and all the rest essentially couldn't buy. The focus that you've placed in building this car, the professionals that you've got around you to work with you to create this car, they're all top tier guys. Again, your focus was just amazing, because there's nowhere in the vehicle where I look at and I think to myself, I can see where you backed off a bit here or backed off a bit there. Everywhere I look is absolute quality, which is a complete credit to you. I'd probably go so far as to say, if anyone is looking to buy a new GT3, GT4, new second hand, someone's looking for a high performance Porsche or Ferrari or BMW or anything that's a serious go fast car for that matter, I would strongly recommend that they buy this car, or at least consider it, because you couldn't get another one. You'll never see another one like it. There's certainly nothing like it in the country that I'm aware of, and I just wish I had the means to buy it myself.